Greetings, Commanders, and welcome back to the Deep Space Carrier series here in Elite Dangerous. We are currently continuing to mine in this little area over here, trying to prep for this leg of the journey up here. We actually still haven't even gone to these actual waypoints here yet. I'm trying to fill up my tanks before we move out here to these waypoints. There's another one out here that we're going to hit before we head all the way up through here and up into this part of the galaxy there. So I'm spending this entire week doing a bunch of mining. For those of you who have been following the journey, I'm sure it's not been the most fun for you, but we're trying. Sometimes there's some logistical things that need to happen before you try to go into things, and I don't want to get halfway out in that barren area and find out, oh, I'm out of fuel and there's nowhere for me. Oh, there's nowhere for me to drop my stuff off. So yeah, I've been doing some mining, but today, just like we did yesterday, we're going to pick a direction and head off in that direction in whatever ship we decide to go in. And it just occurred to me as I was looking for my Mandalay that we're supposed to take a different ship than the Mandalay because we're not really trying to get anywhere. So I don't know. What do we want to take today? I don't know. I'm not sure what I want to take. Maybe we'll take the Phantom. That's our old standard of exploration ship that we used to take everywhere. And all right, so we kind of went north-ish yesterday. Let's head off to the right of the map today and see what we can kind of figure out here. So that's 734. I don't think that's going to be... Oh, that's way too many jumps. Let's go back a little bit. I'm fine with that one. Let's see. 14. We'll schedule. Oops. We'll schedule 14 jumps, but we're not going to do 14 jumps. And I should probably double check and make sure. Surface scanner, discovery scanner, and then yeah, we have SRVs. Everything is good. We can head off and start exploring in the good old Phantom. Oh, come on. Of course, there's something in the way. There's always something in the way. Get out of here. We'll get far enough away from the carrier to start doing our jump, and then, yeah, hop into the next system. And as usual, we'll boost into the star. Took me forever to get actually into my jump because the jump was obscured by the gas giant, and for whatever reason, I just didn't do a good job of getting far enough away from the planet to be able to do that, but that's all right. Let's try to get down a significant way below the plane of the system and do some scanning. Maybe we'll get lucky like we did in the last episode, and there'll be some really awesome biological stuff to go check out. We're still, even though we're not in a hurry to get anywhere, I'm still not stopping for one single biology because, you know, it's just, especially on an icy body, it's almost always going to be bacteria. So, yeah, we're just going to... That's an icy body. I don't really want to go scan space mushrooms. Not really. I mean, if we start getting into the second half of the episode and that's all we can find, then, you know, fine. But I don't really want to make that the first thing we do. That's boring. We'll just move on to the next system. We've got, you know, we're not going to do 14 jumps out because we got to be able to do all the, we have to be able to do all of our jumps back to hopefully sell off whatever it is that we're going to do. But, we'll do like 7 or 8, maybe 9 out, and if we don't find anything, we'll start heading back and hopefully take a different route on the way back. Hit different systems on the way back. That's ideally the way that should work, but we'll see. Okay, we didn't get the system scan complete on this one, but there's nothing showing up either, so let's move on then, I guess. Only 2 bodies in this system. We're just not getting really lucky with our stuff this time. I guess we kind of have to like make up for the fact that we got super lucky in the last episode. So it's gonna like there's got to be balance in the force, and you know, today is gonna be a little bit more annoying. We might not even find anything because we just, you know. But then again, our episode yesterday wasn't exactly the best because we didn't get first footfall. So even though we got stratum and a couple of other things, we didn't get the first footfall bonus, so we didn't get a crazy amount of money. So ideally, it's not going to tilt too far in the other direction. You know, the galactic balance wasn't shifted too far in that direction, other than just we got really lucky and found something immediately. So I don't know. We'll see. Let's boost into the star as per usual. And then there are 15 bodies in this system, so we'll go ahead and do a scan here. I'm not doing a very good job with this ship of doing the boost properly and staying close and tight to the star. Probably because I'm waiting too long to deactivate it. I'm used to the Mandalay that like aggressively decelerates when you turn it off, but that's fine. Let's get this scan done. Unfortunately, there were a couple of high metal content planets that had single biology on it, but we all know what that means. Bacteria. Yay. 27 bodies here. We wouldn't normally stop to look at these, but because we're not particularly in a hurry to get anywhere, I am going to break my rule of 20 maximum bodies, and we'll go ahead and do a scan on this guy. Maybe not. Maybe not. I don't know. I don't know. Okay, so this highlights my point about why I have limits on the number of bodies that I do. 26 bodies so far, not a single biological source. A couple of geological sources, but no biological sources. So we're going to zoom in on this one, and I'm going to tell you that because I believe that this game follows the panspermia approach to biology, a system either has biology or it doesn't. The number of bodies does not affect that. Does not affect the chances of you finding biology, because the system itself is what determines whether there's biology in the system. So, wow, no biology. So this is why, this right here highlights why I have hard limits on the number of bodies in a system that I'm willing to scan, because, you know, the system either has, in my experience, in the thousands and thousands of systems that I've been in, it doesn't matter the size of the system, doesn't seem to matter. It's the system itself has a deterministic, it either has it or it doesn't, which gives it, unless you know the variables, you have to just assume that it's a 50-50 shot. And if it's a 50-50 shot, then the number of bodies you're going to have to sit there and manually scan is like a major determining factor in whether you're going to be willing to, you know, do a scan on that thing. So this is why, that right there highlights why I have a limit on the number of bodies I'm willing to scan in a single system, because, you know, you have to have some time management. You have to have some time management policies to allow you to, you know, get a reasonable amount of travel done. Because if I stopped and scanned every system, especially some of these systems that have, like, you know, 40, near upwards of 40 bodies in them, we'd never get anywhere. We'd still be back in the bubble, you know. So it's just that right there is why. I mean, I've scanned 35 body systems that had not one single biological source in it. Like, if the number of bodies was, you know, a determining factor, or, you know, even a significant tilting of a significant factor, like a reasonably significant factor, then, you know, when I go into high body count systems, I should have a high likelihood of finding reasonable amounts of biology, or even just single biologies. But a lot of times I go into these, you know, 25, 30, 35 body systems and don't find anything. So that's why, from my anecdotal personal experience, that's why I have hard limits on my body, on how many bodies I'm gonna. I know that sounds really bad because, you know, body count, but you know what I'm trying to say. That's why I have a limit. That's why I have an upper limit on the number of bodies in a system for scanning, because it's just, in my experience, I haven't found that I have a higher chance of finding anything. I haven't found that I have a higher chance of finding anything with a significantly higher number of bodies. It just doesn't seem to make a difference. And then, you know, it's kind of the same thing with the, you know, the number of biological sources on a body before I'm willing to go and, was it 14 jumps? I think we'll do 1 or 2 more jumps and then we'll turn around and go back. It's the other reason. It's the same thing with the number of biological sources on a body, because almost always, in my experience, single biology planets have bacteria, and that's it. One time in the entire time that I've gone and scanned single biology planets, I found, like, something other than bacteria, and I think it was a recepta, which, you know, is one of the big things we're always looking for. But I mean, the odds of coming across a recepta on a single biology, anything other than bacteria on a single biology planet, are so infinitesimal. Wow, why can't I not? You know what I'm saying? Infinitesimally. I just can't say it. Normally I can say that word, and it's not that big of a deal, because now that I've screwed it up 3 times, I'm just not able to say it anymore. So, whatever. I'll just let it go. It's so incredibly small that, you know, it's not worth taking, at least in my experience, it's not worth taking your time to go check it, even go check it out, because, you know, if you spend, you know, if finding Recepta or finding a certain specific thing was the goal of the game for us, then sure, you know, it would be such a massive, awesome thing that we would just spend as much time as we could doing it. But it's not really our goal. Our goal is a tour around the galaxy. Our goal is to go to different parts of the galaxy and hopefully see different things. You know, we're kind of taking the guided tour of the galaxy right now, and that's really what we're doing. So, like, the history of the exploration on this channel has gone through a couple of phases. Phase 1 was we're just trying to rank up and get to the point, like, that wasn't even on the channel. My initial exploration was just trying to get the elite status so I could gain access to Jameson Memorial. And then after that, it was just, you know, enjoying the game, trying out different stuff. And then when I decided I wanted to start doing Elite Dangerous on the channel, I decided, hey, let's just go take a trip out to Beagle Point. We'll do some exploration. We'll get some stuff done. You know, and we're going to try to save up money for a fleet carrier, because why not? You know, it's something to do. I think we've gone about as far as we can go. So let's set our destination back to the carrier and see if it gives us a different route. I'm thinking it will. I'm thinking it will give us... Oh, yeah, we're going to hit all different systems on the way back. Cool. So let's go ahead and start doing that. And then we can ideally land at the carrier. Still haven't found anything yet. But anyways, so, you know, my initial foray into exploration was mostly just because I followed the road to riches, trying to get the elite rank so I could gain access to Jameson Memorial. And then after that, you know, it was mostly gameplay. And then later on, you know, when I started doing videos for the channel, it was, let's go out to Beagle Point because it's just something to do. It's something to do that'll take a long time, and it'll make the series last a while. We went out there, we came back, we bought our fleet carrier, and then I was like, oh, let's do the Deep Space Carrier series, right? So the goal for all of my exploration up to this point has either been money, or, you know, rank status, money, or now we're just kind of in the hoping we find, we're just going to go try to visit already established things. And if we find cool stuff along the way, cool. But our goal isn't to find... Oh, we ended up going back into a system we already met. But the rest of them, the map was showing us that we're going back in a different route, so we should be hitting different things, different systems on the way back. So yeah, the goal is not to hit specific things. If we were specifically looking for Recepta, if we were specifically looking for, you know, the only specific thing we look for is Stratum Tectonicus, and the only reason why we specifically look for that is because the combination of high metal content body with two biological sources is so highly correlated to Stratum Tectonicus that it makes it almost like we would be foolish to pass that up, because it's almost like 99.9% of the time that's going to have Stratum Tectonicus, and if you're getting the first footfall, that's 90 million credits. It doesn't make any sense to not do that. The correlation between high metal content and two biological sources is so incredibly high that you're almost guaranteed. It's a virtual guarantee that you're going to find Stratum Tectonicus there. So, you know, that is pretty much the only specific thing that we are actually looking for, and that's only because, even now, that's only because, you know, we're trying to, if we didn't have the fleet carrier and we didn't really have to worry about money, I probably wouldn't worry about that either, because, you know, Stratum Tectonicus isn't interesting to look at. It's not, like, fun. It's not, you know, it's a bill payer. It pays the bills. It's, you know, 30 million credits, or 90 million credits if you can get the first footfall. If we didn't have the fleet carrier out here, and I didn't have to worry about paying a 33 million a week carrier upkeep, then I wouldn't worry. I wouldn't even go for Stratum Tectonicus. Like, we would find planets that seem like they'd be interesting to go land on, is what we would do. But because, you know, we have to keep track of that, and high metal content planets are always at the top end of the list of things we're looking for. So I say all of that to say that because our goal is mostly travel and mostly, you know, trying to reach interesting parts of the galaxy and not necessarily exploration of every individual system we go into. That's why I have limits on the things that I'm willing to scan, because I know from experience that, a system either has biology or it doesn't. The number of bodies does not seem to have any kind of correlation at all. So, it either has it or it doesn't, and you're going to spend twice as long scanning a system with the same chances of finding biology. That just doesn't make sense to me. And then when it comes to the, high metal content with 4, that means it's probably going to be, not have stratum on it. We'll go scan it and see what it is, but I don't know. Let me see, 40C is what we're looking for. Undershot that a little bit, but that's okay. We'll scan this. We'll scan this if there are any interesting. We didn't really make any money in that episode. We made like 20 million, so we might have to go down this gravity well anyway, just because especially if we can get first footfall, we might be able to. We might be able to make a couple of weeks worth of carrier payments if we get first footfall on this one. So I don't remember. I don't remember if the surface scanner tells us. Or does the map tell us? Does the map tell us if there's first footfall on this? You have not yet mapped pristine reserve, first discovered by. I don't think that means first footfall, right? First discovered by somebody else, but I don't believe that means that it's first footfall. We'll look at the surface map. I don't think the surface map tells us either. Or can I just... able to... I'm too close? Okay. I don't remember how you tell if it... I don't remember how you tell from space if it's first footfall. I don't remember if you can tell from space if it's first footfall. I'm pretty sure... I'm pretty sure that first footfall would show up in the system map there, but... I don't know. Get way too close, too fast. But we're gonna go boom, boom, boom. I don't remember if I have the expanded probe radius on this guy. First discovered. I would imagine it would tell me if there was first footfall as well. Like, I imagine at the bottom there you can see it says first discovered by Aphelion RO. I would imagine first footfall would also show up there as well if they had. So Aleoida, Bacterium, Fungoida, and Stratum. Well, we'll go down for the Stratum, definitely. See if we can make ourselves some extra cash. Are we on the light side? We are. And the Stratum is pretty much everywhere. So let me get an approach going here. I'll bring you guys back in as we're completing our glide. Okay, we have made it down to the planet. Let's see if we can find some Stratum. It'd be really nice if we could find the Aleoida as well. But it remains to be seen if that's going to be easy to find here. So what do we got? We got the Stratum. Ooh, as I slam into the ground. Ooh, barely saved that one, sort of. I didn't even really save it. It was more like I didn't land hard enough that it killed me. So I gotta be a little bit careful because I don't want to slam into the ground right now. Let's hop out and go grab ourselves a sample. Okay, we got the first footfall here. This is gonna be the Aleoida, so that's good. We're gonna grab our Stratum first because this is our 90 million credits worth of stuff. And then we'll grab the, I'm pretty sure that's the Aleoida. I remember I said Bacteria, Aleoida, Stratum. I didn't really pay attention to what the other one was. It might have been Fungoida. Because Aleoida typically looks like agave. And if that's the Aleoida and it doesn't look like agave, then I can't use the title I was just thinking of saying, I'm going to put something in the title about space tequila. Because that would be funny. That would be a funny title, and that would get the alcoholics to watch. But whatever, it is what it is. I'm gonna try to land over here. It's nice when you get samples that are kind of intermixed like this, because it basically just means that you get the samples that you're gonna get, and then you just turn around and go back to the same places you just went and scan something different when you get there. So I'm hoping that these are the Aleoida, because those are the only two things I'm really particularly interested in trying to grab. I don't really want to stop for the Bacteria. I don't think that's a tussock, and I don't think that's a Fungoida. I think that's probably some kind of Aleoida. And that's good, because I don't recall ever having seen this kind of Aleoida before, so We'll find out when we're done. We'll find out exactly what it is when we're done. But who knows? And then, as we always do, hover helicopter style across the ground until we find our last sample. And then we'll be able to just turn around, go back, and grab the rest of this stuff. Unfortunately, the thrusters on this ship are not nearly as good as the Mandalay or the Corsair. Or the Corsair. I don't even have a Corsair. The Courier. They all sound they sound the same. That Courier was really nice with it was like fighter style. That's one of the things I liked about that ship, is that it's a fight. It feels like a fighter when you're flying it around. It's really, really nice. Okay, we got ourselves our stratum here. That's a cool 90 million credits. We've gotten so much lime stratum tectonicus, it's not even funny, but, you know, that's the money. That's where the money is. Let's find out what this guy is. This is Alioida spica, turquoise. Okay, yeah, I don't think we've ever seen this kind before. So now I got to come up with a different title related to the type of freaking space Alioida that we found here. Whatever, you know what I'm trying to say. But yeah, we just turn around, go back to the same samples that we went through for our stratum, because it's all going to have the same stuff, which is really nice. I love it when it works like that. Okay, I'm going to try to do a flip over maneuver here. This ship is a little bit more bulky and, you know, harder to handle than some of the other ships that I fly around these days, but you know, it used to be our go-to exploration vessel. It's still, you know, by comparison, it's, you know, kind of bulky and ungainly, but back in the day, it was one of the more maneuverable ships that you could get. So, legacy, but still, you know, compared to what we have now. I do miss this ship, though. It's a very cool looking ship. I have many hours of exploration logged in this ship. Okay, trying to do some fancy maneuvering, trying not to crash, but trying not to crash when in higher gravity environments is a little bit more difficult than you might be used to, so it is what it is. But we'll grab this last sample, and then I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to beeline it, because we're already at 22 minutes. We're going to beeline it. We're probably going to beeline it back to the carrier so we can find out how much money we made from these, and then call it a day. So be sure to stick around and find out how much we made if you're interested in that. But I think we're just going to go straight back to the carrier. So for you guys, ideally, unless I unexpectedly cough or something like that, the very next thing you see should be us landing on the carrier and getting paid. Okay, we are back at the carrier. Let's get within our 7.5 kilometers so we can rapidly approach and then start landing. Now, I don't remember how powerful the thrusters are to slow down on these. The medium ships, typically, I can get pretty close before I start having to worry about it. But, you know, I'm used to my... Oh, yep, this is what I'm talking about. A little bit more ungainly than I'm used to. So, yeah, that's... I'm used to my Mandalay, or I can almost like boost right next to the ship, and then that's it. You know, like it's a little bit more maneuverable than this. This is a little bit more like a. I don't want to say a whale. It's not a whale. Like it's not like the beluga or the cutter or anything like that. It's just, you know, it's just a little bit not as it's not as agile, not anywhere near as agile as the Mandalay or some of the small ships. Okay, well, I gotta think of a title for this, because I was gonna say, you know, something about space tequila, but it didn't look like the actual agave plant this time, so now I gotta come up with one. But let's see how much we made off of our 2 biological samples there with the first footfall. Should be 90 million credits plus whatever the Alioida is gonna give us. I don't really know what the values are of that, so we're gonna find out here in just a second. So 22, does it give me a breakdown? So the stratum was 19 million and the Alioida was 3, so I'm not expecting to get that much, to be perfectly honest with you. Okay, yeah, 112 million credits basically. I mean, that's still good. That's several weeks worth of payments. It's 3 weeks worth of payments, but you know, whatever. Anyways, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to click the like button, subscribe to help us reach 10,000 subscribers. Join as a member for early access to videos, among other perks, or you can just leave YouTube's version of a tip with that thanks button. I also have PayPal and Patreon links for those of you who prefer to go that route, because some people do like to go outside of YouTube to watch or to help out with channels. So again, thank you very much for watching. Be sure to come back for the next episode of our adventure here in deep space, and I'll see you then.